You are watching the week's last edition of Primetime News. Good evening to our global audience and thanks for joining us. I'm Michael Madimba. In the lead tonight, from neighboring South Africa to Namibia, the Phala Phala saga continues to produce seismic ramifications, with NAMPO Inspector General Sebastian Ndaytunga on Thursday denying helping cover up a cash heist at South African President Cyril Ramaphosa's luxury farmhouse. Selima Shmwefeleni Masipa gives us our first report.
In a scandal that's equal parts bizarre and damaging, Ramaphosa is accused of covering up a 2020 burglary at his farm where thieves allegedly ripped apart his furniture and made off with $4 million in cash hidden inside. In South Africa, Ramaphosa is accused of hiding the break-in from police and tax authorities. But in Namibia, Police Chief Sebastian Ndaytunga said in a statement that authorities had in 2020 frozen bank accounts, lodges, houses and vehicles allegedly brought with the stolen cash. Ndaytunga said alleged mastermind Emmanuel David apparently paddled his way by canoe into Namibia, where the head of a major fishing company and a police officer brought him in from the border. He added, after South African authorities declined to confirm that a crime had actually been committed, Namibia released the seized property. Adding no response was received from South African authorities, resulting in the cancellation of the preservation order and release of assets. The police chief noted his entire investigation wasn't based on a formal request, but was launched after a police official from each country met in no man's land along the border in 2020, he added. Ndaytunga denied doing dirty work for President Ramaphosa. Namibian President Hage Geingob has also denied helping Ramaphosa abduct and torture a suspect connected to the burglary. South Africa's former intelligence boss, Arthur Fraser, has accused Ramaphosa of organizing the kidnapping and questioning of the burglars and then bribing them to keep quiet.
On to SADC regional news. Two leading lawmakers from Zimbabwe's opposition appeared in court on Thursday after the grisly murder of an activist ignited fears of intensifying political violence. Once more, Selima Shmwefeleni brings us this report.
Dozens of riot police were deployed outside Harare Magistrates Court for the hearing in a case that started on Saturday when police discovered the body of More Blessing Ali. The activist for the Citizens Coalition for Change had been missing for 2 weeks. Her body was found mutilated and tossed into a well. As the family mourned at her funeral Monday, supporters of the ruling ZANU-PF allegedly attacked the gathering. In retaliation, Citizens Coalition for Change torched a house belonging to a ruling party official who lived nearby outside the capital of Harare. Lawmakers Job Sikala and Godfrey Sitole were arrested Tuesday, with police blaming them for an orgy of public violence. Both men were denied bail as the riot police used batons to disperse supporters outside. Police on Thursday said they had arrested Pius Njamba over the killing. They describe him as an ex-lover of Ali's and are treating the case as a domestic issue. The opposition believes Ali's killing was politically motivated.
On to our next story. The World Health Organization on Wednesday noted that Europe remained the epicenter of the global monkeypox outbreak, which posed a real risk with more than 1,500 cases reported in the region. More on this story.
The United Nations health body already announced recently that it would hold an emergency meeting next week to determine whether to classify the outbreak as a public health emergency of international concern. Hans Kluge, World Health Organization Regional Director for Europe, told a press conference Wednesday that Europe remains the epicenter of this escalating outbreak, with 25 countries reporting more than 1,500 cases, or 85% of the global total. World Health Organization's European region comprises 53 countries, including several in Central Asia. Kluge said the magnitude of this outbreak poses a real risk, adding the longer the virus circulates, the more it will extend its reach and the stronger the disease's foothold will get in non-endemic countries. Until the past few months, monkeypox has generally been confined to Western and Central Africa. Kluge said that the majority of cases reported in Europe have been among men who have sex with men, but also warned against stigmatization. He stressed that monkeypox virus is not in itself attached to any specific group.
Moving on. The European Commission met earlier today to give its fast-tracked opinion on Ukraine's bid for EU candidacy, a step closer to membership for the country, a day after the bloc's most powerful leaders visited Kiev as it battles Russia's invasion. Lydia Pitiri reports.
Never before has an opinion been given so quickly on EU candidacy, which must be approved by all 27 member states. The opinion will serve as a basis for discussion at next week's EU summit, where leaders are expected to approve Ukraine's candidate status with strict conditions, although membership may take years or even decades. French President Emmanuel Macron in Kyiv on Thursday said France, Germany, Italy and Romania are in favor of Ukraine receiving immediate candidate status. Macron, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, Italian Premier Mario Draghi arrived in Ukraine by train and were joined by Romania's President Klaus Iohannis before meeting Ukraine's leader Volodymyr Zelensky, who has been lobbying allies for support. After meeting the visiting leaders, Zelensky said he explained essential needs in the field of defense. Zelensky promised Ukraine was ready to put in work to become an EU member.
We will continue tracking this story and updating you on the latest events. When we return, Schleitwein says African states can benefit from appointment of special water envoy. Primetime Bees brings you all things business and economics, and leading the slot tonight, Minister of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform, Karl Schleitwein, noted that the appointment of a special water envoy to the United Nations is an important step towards enhancing dialogue and outreach, as well as reinforcing the voice of underrepresented and vulnerable regions like Africa. Sawi Hausiku compiled this report.
This was stated by the Minister of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform, Karl Schleitwein, during a high-level virtual dialogue session with the permanent representatives of the UN in Windhoek on Wednesday. As the current president of the African Ministers' Council on Water, Schleitwein said the Council works to accelerate the achievement of water and sanitation goals in Africa. The proposal for a UN Special Envoy on Water was roundly supported by Africa during the 9th World Water Forum in Senegal in March 2022. The minister said their expectations are for the incumbent to strengthen Africa's voice at the global level on water issues and its cross-sectoral linkages to climate resilience, agriculture, biodiversity, and industrialization. He said as a continent, Africa stands to benefit from the services of the envoy to draw attention to the nearly 430 million people on the continent that lacks access to potable water, with the figure doubling for access to basic sanitation, where 870 million people are underserved. Schleitwein said the Council supports the appointment of the envoy in order to elevate water-related issues to one of the top priorities necessary to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Reporting for Nampa News, I'm Sawi Hausiku.
Our next business story sheds spotlight on the effects of incessant inflationary pressures on small-scale agricultural production. Earlier this year, Andrek Shigweda, a poultry farmer in northern Namibia, was hoping for growth in his small-scale venture. But now, rampant inflation and price spikes are straining the production capacity to raise chickens. Lydia Pitiri reports.
Shuweda is one of the many small-scale poultry farmers in Namibia facing tougher challenges as commodity prices continue to spiral. The latest statistics from the Namibian Statistics Agency indicated that annual inflation rate for May 2022 stood at 5.4%, up from 3.8% recorded in May 2021. Shuweda said times are hard for farmers since the price of chicken feed has almost doubled. With margins already low, this forced him to downscale production. Trimming has since disrupted the supply chain, with Shuweda losing clients as he could no longer keep up with the initial demand. Many poultry farmers also tell a similar tale. Gustav Unona, who has been in the business for nearly 8 years, said the challenges have snowballed over the last year. Official data shows, apart from high cost of chicken feed, delivering the products to clients has taken a heavy financial toll on the farmers. The annual inflation rate for the transport category continues to be the main driver of the overall inflation. The government currently limits the importation of poultry and poultry products into the country to 1,200 metric tons per month to offer a competitive market for local producers to supply the domestic market.
That's where we leave it for the top segment. Stay tuned for your sportscast, but first, your economics roundup and the weather forecast.
evening and welcome to the world of sport on Sport Planet. I'm Selima Shumwefeleni Masipa. We begin with European football. New Chelsea owner Todd Boehly warned that clubs will no longer be able to sign players for any price due to the tightening of UEFA's financial fair play restrictions. Boehly headed the consortium that bought the Premier League side in May after the British government received assurances former Blues owner Roman Abramovich would not benefit financially. Abramovich had put the club up for sale after being sanctioned following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, with Boehly and Clear Lake Capital's acquisition ending a 19-year spell for the Russian at Chelsea. On to the NBA. The Golden State Warriors have won the NBA championship with a 103-90 victory in Game 6 at the TD Garden on Thursday, sealing a 4-2 series win against the Boston Celtics. Meanwhile, Golden State Warriors icon Stephen Curry took the time to sit back and soak in the journey from losing the 2019 NBA Finals to Thursday's championship sealing win against the Boston Celtics. Curry, who averaged 31.2 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists in the finals to earn the first finals MVP of his career, scored a team-high 34 points in Game 6 on 12 of 21 shooting, hitting 6 of 11 threes and adding 7 rebounds and 7 assists. Stand by for your sports roundup. And with that, we've come to the end of this week's newscast. Many thanks for tuning in. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe, like, share, and press the notifications bell to stay posted on the latest happenings locally and globally. Let's make another date next week, Monday. From myself, Selima Shumwefeleni Masipa, and the entire production crew, it's good night.